You're in the pocket dimension, and this is Queen's Light, a Daggerheart actual play. My name's AK.
And I'm Evan.
I'm Fitz.
And I'm Matt.
And I'm Austin.
Yes.
And we are getting back into our Queen's Light campaign frame for the Daggerheart game. Last session, we had our epic fight with the Bull Beetle, lovingly named Eugenius Rex II, after Guy had delivered the final blow to earn its this guardian's blessing. And our group had taken a bit of a moment to lick their wounds a bit, repair some armor, and prepare on for the trek. Selwyn had found a couple of swords, and Rex was now leading the way onwards to another entrance into Silkhaven within this town known as Husk. And so as we return to our players here, all of our characters are beginning to make this trek through the Veilspire peaks. But the peaks have gotten significantly more desolate since any of you had last traversed them. And so for this, we're going to have a bit of a skill challenge here. And so each of our characters will be rolling a check of their choice to try and help them maneuver these desolate peaks. And we'll see what the impacts are based on the successes and failures.
Success.
Who would like to make the first check?
I'd like to make the first check.
All right. What are you trying? What is Marrow going to try to do to navigate these peaks?
Mara's going to forge ahead and clear a path. Any boulders, anything that looks heavy or blocking our path, he's going to just clear out of the way. Just get out of here. Send boulders tumbling down the hills and mountains. How's that sound?
Absolutely. Give me a strength check.
Oh, snap. Okay. That's 14 with fear.
14 with fear. So as you move and maneuver across these peaks, you are able to kind of successfully pull some of the rock and rubble and shift it out of the way. And it's all dark and gray and just kind of dead across the tops of these spaces. And the wind kind of howls by you, but you work diligently kind of pushing through. But it takes a lot out of you. And Meryl, I'd like you to mark 1 stress as you go through this process, trying to just the pure exhaustion of clearing this pathway for others.
Yeah, I feel stressed.
Who would like to make the next check for us?
Oh, okay.
I would like to use my instinct to see if I can kind of help, perceive, navigate the best path, figure out where we should be walking, flying, running. And I'd like to, because I'm a druid, I am one with nature, I'd love to spend a hope and use my experience landslide to hopefully avoid those. Okay. Not much better, but at least it is with hope and not fear. So that is 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 with hope.
Not much better.
Well,
I don't
saw
know.
the 13 on the die. And I hadn't done the math yet. Math is hard, okay?
Yeah, that is.
Oh, no.
That is certainly a success. And so with Marrow kind of pulling these boulders out of the way, so when it gives you a chance to kind of act as this guide as you kind of flit across this stone rather than climbing it, and guiding the rest of the group in this general path. Rex had kind of been setting the heading, but you're making sure that everyone stays safe and that they find this pathway of least resistance as you guide them through.
Yes, I know exactly
with no ill effects
what to do. Come, friends. I'm very excited by it, apparently.
And then for Guy or Rex.
I feel like in a situation like this, the best I have to offer is my experience, which is I'm just trying to warn you. So my thought is that maybe I use my stealthiness to fly up into a shadowy crevasse on our side and get a moth's eye view of the path forward, and just to make sure that from my angle up top there's nothing that I can see that they don't, that I could warn them about.
Absolutely.
Fill that crevasse.
You can make me an instinct check as well, and then if you want to use that experience, just mark off a
I sure
hope.
do, and I just did. Right I need my d12s.
I do.
Yeah.
I did.
Okay, well, that is with hope, and it is an 11 plus 2, 13.
13. So you also, as you're trying to kind of get a different perspective on the guiding in this path, the further in that you all are going, the darker it's starting to get. And it's not from above, but just these tall peaks coming up on either side is starting to cut and carve these shadows. But Guy, you feel a little bit at home in these shadows, and you kind of nestle up high into the space to get a path downward. And not only can you start to see the paths and the safety areas where the cliffs kind of fall off to a sheer drop, you also see in the distance something large kind of stretching up considerably, about as high as one of these peaks, but not as jagged and spire-like. It's some sort of statue of some kind.
Okay. For a minute, I thought I was going to be like a creature, and I was very scared because we are small, and that would be big. Okay. But it's a statue that I wouldn't expect to be there, or would.
None of you have seen this particular statue, but at the same time, it must have taken some time to build. But the Veilspire Peaks are not exactly a well-traveled route. And so none of you can really remember the last time you've been this way. I think Rex might have been the only one to have actually gone this path, and it's probably been a long, long time.
Okay. So, has someone used instinct yet?
So did I.
But are we
did, okay.
blocked off from using it when somebody else does?
I don't know. Is that the way this skill check works?
For this one, we're keeping it pretty open, and it's up to you guys what you want to utilize to try and navigate. But what you use may have impacts on what happens or on the DC.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I have an experience called The Truth is Out There, and I'm going to use some instinct to kind of forge ahead, and in doing so also, at the same time, I am going to use my youthful spirit, because the way that I'm talking about this thing is like, we're so close. I know we're close. I remember when I've been here before. It was a very, it was kind of similar, but it was really different. Like it's obvious that Rex doesn't know what he's talking about, but you kind of could get wrapped up in his excitement. Everybody gains a hope.
Nice.
And then I'm going to use The Truth is Out There. Work it out. And that is a 16 with fear.
Okay. Nice and even so far.
I know.
It's unusual. We've been having so much hope. These are such bright sessions.
I know.
I know, for such a spooky campaign frame, it's been very hopeful and silly. Which is kind of our MO.
I mean, that's the wonderful thing. And what we're trying to do with this campaign frame is kind of balance out that humorous and whimsical nature of Daggerheart with some of these darker themes. And so I think the game will kind of ebb and flow. And a lot of that will happen based on the amount of hope or fear. And so since it's been a lot of hope, it's been more upbeat.
Well, one of us will die, and then things will swing.
Bring it.
But yes, as Rex, you kind of lead off, kind of established with the path, gotten the information, you feel confident to press forward. And as you continue on, you know that you're going to come and have to pass by this massive statue. And sure enough, eventually deep within these peaks, carved into the very mountainside, there is this colossal structure of stone. Just this silent titan watching over the desolate expanse. And time and weather have worn down what were apparently once pristine features, but this is still clearly Queen Hazavan. There is no mistaking the sheer power in her stance, tall and unyielding. She has these stone wings that spread wide as if to shield the land beneath her gaze. Her chiseled face, though cracked with age, still holds a lot of the weight of a ruler's burden, and her expression is one of quiet contemplation or perhaps even sorrow. She has many arms and a signature of her lineage. She holds symbols of a bygone era, and almost raising one palm up, looking to be waiting for something long lost to return.
Oh, this is definitely cursed. I love it.
Why do you say that?
I feel like it has its own spirit to it. It feels like ever so much more than just a statue. Do y'all not feel that vibe?
Do I feel that vibe?
Give me well, I think this is still instinct to kind of, it's more detecting the presence of this object, but you're kind of trying to sense it. So go ahead and make me another instinct roll.
Do I get spooky occulty vibes? Oh, I crit.
Heck yeah, you did.
Uh-oh.
Vibes. Tell me all the vibes.
Guy, you feel this natural duality. There is a call that pulls you in, like that song that brought you all here, and yet there is something stark about the white-gray features of this statue that almost keep you at a distance. But you can't help but notice that at her feet, where nature has begun to reclaim what remains, there's these twisted roots and creeping moss, and half buried, there's another inscription, as well as something sitting atop the stone base.
Oh, can I maybe read the inscription or sort of push away the roots and things to look at it?
Yeah, you clear some of the brush and it reads, "In sacrifice, we formed a kingdom. Together, we sought eternity."
How does this make us feel, GM? Is this a sad sight? Is it a inspiring sight? I'm not exactly sure how to feel.
For you, Rex, and each one of you feel a little bit differently about this sight. It is something of pure wonder. This was a figure that was so powerful and impactful in so many people's lives that they have erected something so magnificent to her awe and splendor, and it is everything that you want to be someday.
What are the items at the base of the statue?
As this wind is kind of howling through the peaks, you almost get this whisper, this feeling of war and loss, and this queen whose legacy was not as eternal as she had once dreamed, looking at this inscription. And Rex, you kind of step forward, and there's this small greenish amulet. It's delicate and yet sturdy, and it's shaped like this pair of overlapping fey wings, and the jade color glows faintly with this just ethereal green shimmer that flickers erratically.
Well, wait, let's not touch it. Hold on. I know, but let's just make sure that it's just a little weird that it's just sitting out here in the open. For anyone to take.
Are there any signs of anyone being there, trying to take it, or footsteps away, or is it just,
It before you had kind of cleared off some of the vines, it almost seemed like the vines themselves had made it, for lack of a better term, a nest. It wasn't quite that clear, but it was definitely sitting in the middle of these, of this growth.
Does it look like anything that a guy would have come across in their studies? Like the symbol with the wings overlapping? It's like, does it...
Yeah, make me a knowledge check.
Bro, I crit again. I can't even say that.
Oh my gosh.
Bro, that crit again. I crit and then I crit again.
I think that there are multiple levels to this, guys. You look at it immediately, just looking at the piece, you can see that this is some sort of relic, a symbol of the unity that the queen was looking to establish. This bridge between the kingdoms, some sort of lost piece of regalia, But you can also tell very clearly that this amulet is missing a piece, a second half that complements its power. And you know that even on its own, it probably has some magical properties, something that it can do, but you're not sure how to activate it or how to connect with it. And it gives you something that you want to, perhaps you can find others or research further to actually figure out how to activate this. But it's a piece on its own, but it's something much more significant if you can find the pair.
Cool. You know what? Sorry, guys. I just wanted to be chill about this before we went touching things that were just sort of sitting out there, you know. But actually, good vibes all around. So,
We're safe, right?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Rex kind of looks around and it's like, it's meant to be,
Go for
right?
it.
I love it when you say things like
Okay.
that.
And he picks up the amulet.
Yes, it is an amulet.
Yeah.
Rex, you kind of hold on to the green amulet, and emboldened by this, you continue to lead the way onwards towards Husk. And every so often, you just can't help but look back over your shoulder at this massive statue, just still catching your eye, that gleam, the mask or the face itself. It has this radiance to it that just emanates out, almost shines in this darkened landscape, and you can't help but feel like you want to emanate that you want to bring that light to people, to bring that splendor, and you just can't take your eyes off of it.
Yeah, I am feeling that. That's what I was going for earlier. Just like, it's just so enormous. Now, I guess this is a little bit above the table, but would this statue be human sized because we're so small, or would it be giant
It's
sized?
way big,
Colossal.
massive.
Okay.
Yeah, this thing is as tall as one of the mountain peaks around you, and you're shocked that you've never seen it before because it had to have taken ages to carve.
Especially for
Well, guys.
little slips of things like us.
But as you all are looking around, especially for your size and the massive peaks, you're not surprised that anyone who hasn't come by this way hasn't seen it. It's easy to have it be lost and hidden in the many peaks that cut in different directions.
Hey, that bull beetle was a statue, wasn't it?
Yeah.
There's no chance that this thing is alive.
Going to come to life
Maybe.
and try and keep us from accessing something.
Yeah.
Oh, my. Maybe best not to attack this one.
Is there any evidence that this thing has moved or can move?
Marrow, you can go ahead and give me a knowledge or instinct check if you want to look around the space.
Knowledge or instinct? Ooh, 13 with fear.
And which one did you roll?
The same. Doesn't matter.
Well, which one would you like to choose? then?
Better for you. Let's say knowledge.
Knowledge. Okay. So just trying to compare what you saw in the details between this statue and the previous statue. This statue has legs, but they don't seem to, you don't see any scratch marks on the stone. You don't see the same types of like channels that were there, any types of things that might have activated or brought that stone. But you also remember these terms that were used. You were involved in a lot of the kind of military operations or with those folks that kind of ran in those circles. And there were often whispers of having to prove yourselves to the guardians that stood outside the veiled gate. Those bull beetles that were sung from the stone. You never heard any of those stories about this thing. And it makes you kind of question if this was something, maybe the fact that it was built potentially very quickly, maybe it was something darker that created this. But it doesn't seem animated.
Okay, thank you.
Noticing Rex's taking to the amulet and, taking it in, I'll just, as we walk away, walk alongside you and be like, hey, what's going on in there in that space south of your antenna? What you thinking?
I'm just kind of mesmerized by this by the statue. I don't understand why it isn't a bigger part of
It's your bosoms,
our lives,
right?
Yes.
I mean,
I just it's so wonderful, but why? It's so inspiring.
It is.
Why don't we know it? Why don't we know of these things? Surely I would have heard a song
Right.
about it, or
The inscription sounds like a song. Like I feel like I can almost like hum it, but I don't know that I've ever heard it before. Right, GM?
In
That's your
sacrifice we
knowledge.
forged a kingdom.
Together we saw.
These terms are all over the place in Silkhaven. These ideas of unity and construction, they're inscribed everywhere. But this particular phrase, you don't think you've come across, at least not to the memory that you have. But Marrow, especially, as they're kind of whispering and talking about this, you feel something very different about this statue. Rather than focusing on kind of the radiance of the statue itself, the darkened, desolate spires of this landscape almost erupt around it like teeth of some even more massive maw looking to consume this queen. And that shadowy darkness around the bright statue is all that you can focus on.
I think we need to... I'm getting a bad feeling about this. I think we need to move. I think we need to move on.
I don't want to
wonder-
Sorry. As we do so, Guy is internally starting to formulate some questions. One of which being that as we move, even though Guy isn't familiar with this space in the way that Rex is, so it might take longer in looking at more spaces as we move forward, but Guy wants to see if she can really start to piece together how long it's been since other people have been using the spaces that we're entering, because it's starting to feel weirdly more desolate, like more time has passed than should have. So yeah, just keeping that in the back of Guy's mind that like something feels off, and is looking for any information as we move forward that could fill in the gaps there.
Yeah, as you all continue to move away from the statue, Rex kind of leading the path now that it's become much more familiar to him. Guy, you hang back and look across the stone, look across the pathway, kind of move forward a little bit, trying to analyze the route to see if there's any tracks or anything. Go ahead and make me a knowledge check as you're trying to analyze this space and determine when people were last through here.
Yeah. Okay.
Ooh.
Okay, that's good. It's with hope, and it is a 16 plus. You said knowledge. 17.
Very nice. So yeah, as you're looking at this space, the first thing that's very clear is that people haven't been through here in a long time. But as you start to get a closer look at it, it's longer than makes sense. Something happened to this space. Something happened to this area that seemed to, age it, seemed to corrupt it. Something happened here that makes it look even worse than it is. And it doesn't seem to be deadly or dangerous, but it's not good. It's not happy. Something bad happened, and maybe not here, but the effects are being felt here.
I keep looking out for more signs of that and clues as to what could be causing it as we move forward.
Yeah.
This, I mean, it's connected to our queen, right? She needs us. Something
Yeah,
wrong. Very wrong.
Whatever has happened here, that we heard the call beckoning us back about. I think this has something to do with it. We need to get to the bottom of it.
Yeah. Come on.
As you all continue to wind through the jagged paths of the Veilspire Peaks, eventually you emerge from the shadows of towering stone into a hollow where once this location known as Old Town used to cling to the mountainside, now it definitely resembles its nickname of Husk, more like a stubborn memory than anything else. Time weighs heavy here, and pressing against the cracked wooden walls of ancient Fey cottages, their once elegant carvings have been worn down by the wind and hardship of these peaks. And between them now, a sprawl of makeshift shanties are scattered into the gaps, with patchwork walls and scavenged wood and cloth. As you all get closer and closer, you start to see individuals that are moving between these spaces, and this weary hush lingers in the air as you approach. The Fae who call this place home move with measured steps, their wings dulled by dust and their eyes shadowed by long days and longer nights.
Good old Husk. Just the way I remember it.
And really for you, Rex, not much has changed. The vibes of this place are really familiar. It's just these kind of shanties that have been added that there it seems like the population, which was relatively small, has like doubled. Still not a large population, but
booming. Yeah. Wow.
Rex, who?
I mean,
who lives here?
Who does live here? I wonder.
It's been a long time since you've been here, but things don't really change in Old Town. It got that name for a reason. And you go ahead and roll me a knowledge check here to see how many, if you can recall any folks.
Okay. Darn it. That is a 20, but it is with fear.
Okay.
That's a 21 with fear, actually. Wow, we're
one with fear.
We're in trouble, everybody. We're in trouble, everybody.
Fun ways to die.
Rex, you know, again, people aren't likely to move from this place. You remember a cranky old man as Old Man Jenkins. You remember this strange woman named Marge. You could never really figure out what kind of face she was. And you also remember the blacksmith named Vordrick. All these people were old when you left, but assuming they haven't gone on, they're probably still here. But you didn't exactly leave this place on the best of terms, and so you're not sure how happy they might be to see you.
That's always a good point. And I have no recollection of what I did to upset them, I'm sure.
And it's more your nature. Your brightness was something that was not welcome here, and you never really felt like you fit in here, and that's part of the reason why you left. And this is a very home roots type of place where once you're here, you should be here, and anybody who goes to see anything else, they're not worth the time. They don't appreciate the quality, old school nature of this place.
Wow, we haven't even had any flashbacks into Rex's childhood or met anybody who lives here, but I'm already mad on his behalf because I feel like this town must have dimmed his bright shine.
How dare they?
Until he left. Like, I'm already mad for young Rex.
Yeah, so you're from here, Rex? You're from here?
Yeah.
I'm just, that's so hard to see. I'm really confused.
Well, it never felt right or real to me either, to be perfectly honest. I mean, you know, there were some nice people. There was Old Man Jenkins.
What about
he used to let me
family?
Oh yeah, well,
Are they?
my family's just enormous. They were never nice to me. I bet a lot of them would still be here. Wouldn't that be, GM? Wouldn't some of them be?
As far as you could think, maybe.
Yeah, I don't really stay in touch.
Yeah, it's been years, decades even since you've been back. You're not really sure what the status is.
Is there...
And honestly, your family might be even less excited to see you. You're not sure what your feelings are.
Fact.
Is
Is
there something that we could use a sneaky little scout for? Like somewhere you want me to check out and get eyes on, like before we all kind of bust up? You know, as the big bad party that we kind of are?
Yeah, we could like sneak into the shadows and spy on people first.
Yeah. Yeah, like I could transform into like a mouse or like a kitty cat, maybe like a spider if we.
A mouse bigger than you?
Well, we're not like insects. Like we're insect humanoids, right?
Yeah, you guys are like equivalent of a foot or two.
Oh,
Okay.
But just something that's a little bit more like slick and slippery than we are. Made for
Got it.
hunting corners.
I mean, Rex,
What are we?
I could, if you have anything that needs to be, dealt with here, I could do that.
Oh no, they're fine. I really appreciate it, guys.
Yeah. What's the? I mean, are we trying to get through here without being noticed, or do we need to find someone and try to find out what's going on around here?
Yeah.
Or do we just need to keep going and get out?
You know what? Honestly, Rex, I know this could be difficult for you, and if I were in your shoes, I probably would just want to sneak and pass right through. So, I mean, if you want to take a backseat, I totally understand. But I do think we should talk to somebody that you trust, because they may know more of what's happening than we do.
That's a good point. And in your, at that moment, Guy, in your head, you hear this voice, and it's very, very clearly Rex, kind of like telepathically talking to you. It's like, actually, there's a bully. His name was Big Stan, and if I see him, I would be honored if you kicked his ass, because some of the trauma that he created just by beating me up every day, we'll talk about it. But great ideas. And then he's too embarrassed to talk about it out loud, but just to you, since you offered, he's kind of like
the
put
other
that into
sea
your
guy
head.
try to casually pull out a notebook and write something down and then stick it back in her pocket.
What are you writing? Just kidding. I don't care.
I didn't want to lie to you, but please don't ask. Puts it in my pocket. And I put it in my pocket.
Well, now I want to know.
Nice. Oh, it's nothing, I'm sure. Okay, let me think if there's anybody that, number one, wouldn't
Old Man Jenkins?
shut their
Who'd you
doors
say?
in my face. Well, yeah, I mean, there is Old Man Jenkins and Big Marge.
Let's go talk to
Large
Leroy.
Marge?
A lot of people are called Big or Small here. And then Vodrick, right?
Vordrick. Yeah.
Vordrick.
Of the three
Vordrick.
options, I say let's go talk to Leroy. Mr. Jenkins.
Leroy
As you all are
Jenkins.
discussing, there you find suddenly you're not alone, and your eyes all kind of just look down, and at each of your hip height, and for Marrow at the knee, there is this little bitty fae. It's got kind of a round silver body and this bright white head that kind of almost has these soft little horns at the top. But the body almost looks like that of a roly-poly or a pill bug. And it just looks up with this devilish grin. Bumza.
Oh my stars.
Oh. Hey, little guy.
Bumza.
Vumza.
Bumza.
Vumza to you.
Bumza.
Vumza.
Is this supposed to be a joke that we're going to fall into? Like if you say D's and then we drag.
These Vumzas?
Yeah, I don't want to fall into a trap.
Bumza.
Oh, did I just bum you out? I'm so sorry.
I'm gonna
Vumza? Do I know Vumza?
You have no idea.
No idea.
It almost looks infantile, but at the same point, the head has this age to it. It's really hard to gauge whether this is just a small creature or a child.
Ooh. Vumza. Vumza. What language could that be?
Yeah.
Can I use my library moth brain to see if I know anything about roly-poly language?
Sure, give me a knowledge check.
Yeah, not great. 9.
With hope or fear? With hope. So you're kind of looking down at this creature and like racking your brain. You're like, I swore that pill bugs were a type of beetle. They should just communicate like everybody else, but this thing looks real weird. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Hey, buddy. How you doing?
Vamsa.
Take us to Vamsa. Would you mind?
Vamsa.
Vamsa?
You're Vamsa.
Vamsa.
You are Vamsa. Okay, Rex.
Oh, Vamsa.
Yeah. So, how may we help you, Vamsa?
Vamsa.
Are you greeting us?
Follow you?
Vamsa.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
And he kind of like hops up and down and kind of skips a little bit. And he's like walking and waddling down this path. He's kind of weaving through. And again, there's still other folks around. They're all kind of like peeking out and looking. But as soon as you look, they're kind of trying to pretend like they were just doing something and not paying attention. And you all continue to weave down through these makeshift housing settlements until you get to this center of this town, this kind of larger building. And as we turn that page to moving inside that building, I think that'll be a good place to take our first break.
Vamsa!
Va va va.
He's cute. But I also am like,
Very-
immediately I thought,
But also frightening.
guys checking their pockets because
Yeah, Vamsa's about to fuck some shit up.
For sure. Yeah.
Hundo.